Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Titus. Now in this video, I just wanted to share with you a tip that's unusually something that I would usually make. For those of you who have watched my previous video, I've been posting a lot about our anniversary. However, in fact, after our anniversary, we also found out a really sad news. And for those of you who know us personally, then you would have seen my post in Facebook in relation to us having a miscarriage of our first child. It's not always easy to talk about it, but something that I really do want to share with you in terms of the process about grieving is just about how to go through it and really, in essence, because this channel is about positivity and I don't necessarily want to talk about the negative things, but I think it's also important to share what I have learned to help people go through the phase as well if you are going through it. Margie and I are also wanting to share a video in relation to our experience in the miscarriage as well. We hope that by sharing this, not only will people be aware of what people may go through, but also just to empower you guys to really be hopeful in terms of whatever you guys are experiencing right now. So this video that I wanted to make actually is in relation to tips on how to deal with grieving. Now for many of us that could be a taboo topic, but it's something that I really just want to tackle because even though it's been several weeks now since we experienced it, it can still be quite traumatic remembering it. But I think I have to remember as well that this is not the end. So instead of me dwelling on it, I actually want to share with you guys some of those different thinking that I've developed to enable me to really move forward with life. I hope that you guys stick around until the end of this video. Alright, let's get straight into it. Now, before I begin, I just wanted to share with you all that the things that I'm going to share with you are all based on my own personal experience. And whilst there are a lot of different scientific explanation as to why people grieve or how people grieve, these things that I'm going to talk about are specifically in relation to how I dealt with it, and I hope that you guys will find it useful. So the first part is it's about making sure that you understand that it's okay to grieve. Whether it's crying, isolating yourself, not attending parties, or just literally giving time for yourself, even calling in sick if you need to from work will really help to ensure that whatever your mind is experiencing, that you will just allow yourself to not have other external stimuli overburdening you. Really just take some time to really grieve. If you really need to just pour out your heart, spirit, and soul, even by praying, go ahead and do so. But whatever you do, don't bottle it in, because if you do, it's just going to manifest itself physically in your body, such as maybe feeling lethargic, more depressed and tired, getting distracted and all. So during the time of loss, I would recommend really to just grieve as much as you need to. Obviously, after you grieve and getting all that negative emotions out of your system, you're then going to be able to then hopefully function much better later on. Obviously, with different individuals, there's also different hormonal things that could be happening inside of you, so it could be different experiences as well for some people. But for me, what I really found is that grieving really helped enable me to just move on and also carry on whatever it is that we have lost, but not forget it as well. The next tip that I'm going to give you is about talking to people who you trust. So people who won't judge you, people who will be willing to listen. And sometimes what I really learned about talking and also just understanding people who have problems is that you may often not need someone who necessarily give you tips and advices, but just someone who will listen. And sometimes you might just want someone to really lean on, to know that they're there. It doesn't really have to be someone who will give you all those different tips and advice of how to deal with grieving, but just someone who will just be there for you. The other tip that I also want to tell you guys is that, especially for fathers who have lost their child through a miscarriage, that it's okay for you to feel confused. It's okay for you to not know how to react, and it's okay for you to just process things and sometimes initially not cry about what had happened. So with me and then my experience initially when we found out, I was really in denial, but I had to come to my senses and eventually accept it. So yeah. The next tip that I want to give you guys is about being more understanding to the people around you. Now, something that I guess we won't encounter or will not understand is that if someone experiences a loss, oftentimes there are things that other people want to say to you. And I didn't really know how to relate to people who have had a loss in the past before I had my own loss. And after going through it, I would just think that even though other people have good intentions in terms of the different advices they have, sometimes it doesn't feel like it really does help. And sometimes what you personally would just need is someone to listen to you. But if people do give advice that may be offensive or sometimes not really what you want to hear, try not to judge them and try to just be more understanding, because they probably don't know how to react to the loss that you're experiencing. So that's something that I really want to share with you guys, because I guess with us there's a lot of things that people may say, but at the end of the day, really, if you're not hurting anyone or offending anyone, then just try to be more understanding to the people who makes comments, even though sometimes they're kind of out of place. So yeah, be more understanding. The next tip is about ensuring that you do not blame yourself. Now, a lot of the times that when things happen, and I guess it's innate for a lot of people, that even though you don't intentionally want to think that, there's a part of you that wants to blame yourself for what had happened or the loss. Sometimes there's even regrets that you might think that you might feel as though you want to say things like, oh, I wish I would have, or I should have, could have. But there are some things that are just meant to be, and I really do believe in terms of just how things are and how God allows them to happen. I know that it's often hard to understand, but there are a lot of things in this fallen world that we don't understand, and because at the end of the day, we all die. Sad as it is to say, unfortunately, this world is limited, so just make sure that you don't blame yourself for things that have happened, especially if there is an indirect cause of how that loss or death had occurred. Alright, the next tip is about making sure that you do not keep whatever you're experiencing in the darkness. And the reason why I do want to share my experience, or the reason why we do want to share our experience to you all, is to allow ourselves to shed some light in that darkness. When you experience loss, when you experience a death within your own family that's directly related to you, oftentimes it can be really lonely. You can often feel like you're hidden in the dark, and oftentimes that darkness just looms around. But if you start sharing it to others and you start really opening up and talking about it, then you're going to shed some light in that darkness. And trust me and believe me when I say that the more that you talk about it, the more that it does become lighter and easier. The first time that you are going to share this to someone oftentimes will be the hardest thing that you'll ever have to do, but over and over as you go through with life and as you learn to share with the people that you trust, then this darkness eventually leaves. So make sure that you don't keep things in the darkness and share your experiences to others. The last tip that I want to give you guys is allow yourself to heal. Now, what I mean by that is really sometimes when you experience a loss and you feel as though it's something that's not really good, oftentimes we may even feel guilty for actually moving on. But sometimes you just need to think to yourself that when things happen, and they do happen for a reason, that oftentimes once you've gone through all that grieving process, that you now need to love yourself, to allow yourself to just heal, to recover, to move on, to move forward. Moving on doesn't mean forgetting it, but moving on just means that you're going to now live back your life, that you experience a good chunk piece of your life that you have lost, but now you have to rebuild yourself and allow yourself to really be whole again. Now, those are all the different tips that I just want to give you guys. Now, I hope that you have found some benefit in this. I'm pretty sure that if I were to ask you about different tips you would give someone who's experienced a loss, that you would have heaps and heaps of examples. But if you found this useful, again, please click that like button. It just helps to support this channel. Click on subscribe, and if you want to see me make more videos, and also if you guys want to see that video that Marge and I are going to make regarding our experience on the miscarriage. And also please comment down below as well if you have any other tips that you would give to someone who has experienced loss. I do want to hear what you guys would have to say. I guess that's about it for this video. Share this to someone who you think might benefit from it. Until the next video, guys, goodbye and God bless.